very good evening to all of you students. If very quickly you can let me know as to whether I'm audible or not, and if that's a thumbs up, maybe we can begin. And I'm so sorry for being 5 minutes late already for the session. There were some tech issues that we were trying to figure out, and that is what took the delay. But now that we're here, why waste any further time? Please do write in the chat box so that I know you can hear me. And then let's begin with another very ballyhooed topic, which is, do we really need coaching or is self-study enough for CLAT? So I'm just going to go take a peep in the chat box and come back and see if I have a heads up. And if all of that is taken care of, there is nothing that can delay us any further. Hi guys, hello. If you can just write to me a heads up. So a very good evening and a hi to everybody. But as to my audibility and my visual, am I perfectly visible and can you all hear me? If I could just get a confirmation on that, I mean we're good to start. But I will need a heads up on that, please. So anybody who's feeling generous enough, please chat box में लिख दो, सुनाई दे रहा है ढंग से कि नहीं? Okay, all right. Now mock scores कम हो रहे हैं. I know there comes a time wherein हम लोग अभी इस समय थोड़ा struggle करते हैं. What needs to be done about the mock marks will be discussed towards the end of the session, or maybe towards the end. I'll give out my Telegram ID. Stay put until the end. Once you have my Telegram ID, you can always write to me. आपको इतना bother क्या कर रहा है and क्या नहीं, and then we'll take it up. So today I come up with this very very important topic, and that is, क्या coaching जरूरी है for the preparation of CLAT or not? Or let's put it another way, can CLAT be qualified by just self-study? Now, as much as coaching does play an important role, जिसको हम neglect नहीं कर सकते, so even if you are an aspirant who's into self-study, you will know that somewhere or the other you will require a coaching, because there is so much material available all around, and to be able to ward off all that confusion and to know bhai kya important hai kya nahi, some or the other time you will have to take shelter of a certain coaching. But aap coaching padho ya na padho, the one thing which is very very important is how much of an effort are you putting into CLAT. So as it is always said, स्कूल में जो पढ़ाई होती है वो काफी नहीं होती है, आप जो घर जाके पढ़ते हो वो असली पढ़ाई होती है. So CLAT is not the kind of examination which is content heavy. It is not the kind of examination which has a huge syllabus to itself. It is the kind of syllabus which is entirely based on skills. So the more you practice, the better you get. And of course, आप कितना भी coaching चले जाओ, you will not be able to practice the kind and the manner, that is the quality and the quantity in which it is expected जो आप खुद से करोगे. So like I said, whether you've joined a coaching, now obviously if you've joined a coaching, there are so many positives of it. But if you have not joined a coaching, struggle ho raha hai. So here I am to be able to help ward off your struggle and let you know how well can you prepare for the CLAT examination even via self-study. And this is an important video also for all the ones who have joined the coaching, because self-study, like I said, is the most essential part. It is the very benchmark. It's the very yardstick which will decide your preparation level. So self-study is a given, irrespective of whether you are in a coaching or not. And with that, let us begin. So like I said, what we're going to be doing or talking about today is the kind of books that we require, the sources that are going to be required, कौन सी books आपके पास handy होनी चाहिए, कौन से sources से आपको हमेशा जाके deep dive करना चाहिए, what are the daily routines and the strategies that you're going to require. So no coaching, absolutely no problem. You are taking help from the YT series, or you're taking a little bit of guidance. थोड़ा बहुत भी अगर आपके पास direction है किस तरीके से जाना है, बाकी की मेहनत तो आप ही की है. So let's see what is it that can be done. Now, the biggest question that we begin with is, do we really need a coaching to crack CLAT? Or can self-study really do the magic for us? Self-study से ही हो जाएगा हमारा कि नहीं? The answer will be found after the end of this session. So if you're confused, भाई normal सी बात है, हम लोग confused रहते हैं, overwhelmed हो जाते हैं, because CLAT इतना important paper है and हमें लगता है हमारी सारी lives are at stake. The entire career is at stake. So you get overwhelmed. It's very easy to get consumed with all of these emotions, or just tired of watching a top or book list, and still don't have a clear plan. Like I said, this video is for you. So towards the end of this video, I guarantee you will have clarity. And you will also know where exactly should you be heading if you are an aspirant for the CLAT preparation. So let's break it down. Let's find out what are the best books you should read, what are the free and the paid sources that you can, of course, you can always reach out to. A very realistic routine. So I'm not going to make a very fancy routine. I'll just make the kind of routine which I'm expecting is going to be very doable. And of course, a no nonsense self study strategy. So it's not going to be sugar coated. It's going to be very raw. It's going to be very doable, like I said, and it's going to be easy to execute. All what is going to be required from you is the dedication and the discipline. So if you have those two D's to yourself, I think you're taken care of. And the one that actually works. And this is something that can fit for you, whether you be a school goer or you be a dropper. So let's head straight into it. Now, the first thing is, क्या self study enough है CLAT के लिए? Something that I mentioned in the start also, and that is you have to do self study irrespective of whether there is a coaching or not. Without the self study, you are going nowhere. So as a CLAT aspirant, I know this is coming out very brutal, but yes, self study बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So let's see yes and why. Because first, CLAT is not about content overload. जो हमने starting में discuss किया था. CLAT is not a content heavy paper. उसमें इतने सारे chapters नहीं आते. Unlike the UPSC and the ISC or the engineering examinations where you have so much to study, CLAT doesn't have a lot to study. It asks the same things a number of times. So you see, English is not heavy with a lot of content. It has the same reading comprehension, but multiplied in terms of the quantity that we have. So it's all about comprehension, logic, and awareness. So is a coaching really required? No, as long as you are doing your practice, you're sorted. Coaching can help, but like I said, it is not mandatory. Thoda direction has not hurt anybody. In the coaching, you have mentors. Coaching, like I said, has its own positives. आपको DCS मिल जाता है, आपको faculty मिल जाती है, आपको mentoring मिल जाती है, आपको एक environment मिल जाता है. You get similar peers. There is a competition. There's a competition breeding in every corner of the classrooms. So there are a lot of things that come. But then come a very different stack of people जिनको maybe peer pressure में इतनी पढ़ाई नहीं हो पाती जितनी isolation में singularly हो जाती है. So you have to understand the kind of person you are to be able to know how much of the coaching is really going to help you. Self prep, of course, is going to give you flexibility because you are your own master. आप कभी भी पढ़ सकते हो. Ownership, now you can own what has to be done and what not. You go to a coaching, आपके पास एक syllabus होता है, एक schedule होता है. You have to follow that. Nothing will be taught outside the FPC. But here, you can make your own routine. And of course, there's time control. You decide, okay, I need to do 3 hours of legal today. So that's it. You then decide, I need to do 3 hours of English today. And there you are. So the 3 things toppers always master. So ever seen a topper or ever talked to a topper, you will always see that a topper is always flexible, owns what he does, and of course has absolute time control. The next, with access to mocks, PYQs, and daily reading, 80 to 90% of what coaching offers is already online. Now that's the benefit of social media being so rampant nowadays. You don't really have to fight. If you have, and you guys of course are Gen Z students, so why are we even hiding this? आपको सारे Telegram groups पता है, आपको सब पता है कि कहाँ से क्या material किसका मिल सकता है. And you guys are smart enough. The Sherlock in you must have, already awoken by now to be able to, see which to join, where to join, what to follow, किस YouTube channel को देखना है, किसका ये वाला, किसका ये वाला act देखना है, so on and so forth. So of course, for as long as आपके पास mocks है, PYQs है, which are the previous year question papers, you are doing a daily reading, 80 to 90% of the course that you need is dispensed, is already online. So you don't have to join a coaching. Like I said, the coaching is going to be required even if you are somebody who's into, who's not taking any coaching, only because mocks एक ऐसी चीज होती है और कुछ study material ऐसा होता है जो शायद coaching ही दे पाती है. But if you've just enrolled onto the test series or you're just enrolled for the mock, I think that is also taken care of because there is no dearth of material. इतना सारा है कि आप खुद confuse हो जाओगे कहाँ से पढ़े और कहाँ से नहीं. Make sure you click right with the faculty, and once that faculty sits with you and that you understand, you're able to build the rapport there, I think that is it. उसके आगे कुछ भी नहीं करने की जरूरत है. So what are the kinds of things you need to do to make the self prep effective? First, stick to a minimalistic resource pool. When you begin to search on the internet, you have to know the internet is endless. It's like the ocean of knowledge. So you will have to know where to study from and how much to study. Because if you just keep Googling, there will be no end and you cannot be stuck on the same topic forever. So please make sure that you've made a minimal resource pool. Tailor, customize your understanding. So if you think that okay, X का ये पसंद है तो उससे वो पढ़ो. अगर आपको लगता है Y का ये पसंद है तो उससे वो पढ़ो. But you will have to be doing this, and you can't really be doing. You're not an octopus. You don't have 8 hands to be doing it. So please make sure that आप उसको fine line कर रहे हो. Focus on the analysis, not just the learning. For every time you do the mocks or any time you're doing any of the assignments, please make sure आप analysis पे focus कर रहे हो, not just the learning. So when you learn a concept, make sure you apply it. And while applying, you have to see कि क्या ये बैठ रहा है, is it getting you the desired result or not? Because if it is not, then there is a gap, there is a void that needs to be fixed. So please make sure the analysis matters. It just doesn't have to be the learning. Build a feedback loop with mocks and error logs. Always have a separate copy wherein you are going to log all your errors. इनफैक्ट जब आप स्टडी मटेरियल भी सॉल्व करते हो, कोई क्वेश्चन गलत होता है उसके बगल में लिखो, ओ आई थॉट दिस टू बी द आंसर बट दिस इज व्हाट नीड्स टू बी द answer. It's very important to take some self-corrective steps. Sometimes you can even reprimand yourself. You can actually write things like, oh, I was so silly. Why did I write something like this? So please make sure that you're writing all of these things so that you know where to do wrong, or where is it, sorry, you're going wrong and how to do that right. An error log is very, very important. And this goes for both somebody who's in the coaching or not. And of course, mocks is going to be something जो एक non-negotiable है. ये हम लोग ने पढ़ा है. Mocks आपको actually में बताएगा पेपर कैसा दिखता है, pressure building क्या होती है. So even if you're studying offline, there is no harm signing up for a mock for any of the coachings. Create a community or accountability circle. So it could be Telegram, it could be on Discord, it could be a study buddy, whatever it is. Peer learning is one of the best ways. You guys are at an age wherein खुद के मार्क्स आते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, बट अगर या खुद के मार्क्स खराब आते हैं, लेट्स पुट इट लाइक दिस, तो बुरा लगता है. बट अगर दोस्त के मार्क्स अच्छे आ जाते हैं तो और ज्यादा बुरा लगता है. Competition grows, begets competition. Challenge begets challenge. So when you're friend and you study, there will always be a constant tussle for you to want to outperform. Always have a buddy and you will see your growth go exponentially. So self study doesn't mean isolation. It's not like हमें कमरा बंद करके बस बैठ जाना है उसमें. It means customization. And here you have the liberty to be able to customize wherever and however you wish to do it. You are the student and you are also the strategist. Now you are the one who's making your own strategy. It's just that your strategy has to be on point. Now, section wise books, if you are somebody who's into self study, and that you should be requiring. Now beginning with, of course, अगर English पढ़ रहे हैं तो सबसे पहले तो आपके पास past year papers होने हैं. I hope all of you guys who are watching me right now must have solved at least one past year paper. If not, please do. You have to know what you're preparing for. You can't just jump to an examination. There should at least be a mock that you've done and at least one past year paper to know the difference in the quality and how exactly should you be able to finish something like that in 2 hours. The temperament will only sit right if you have done a demo, like a dummy version of what you're preparing for. So please make sure आप पूरा, all of this is very widely available on the internet. आप सारे papers का compilation download कर सकते हो, but कोई एक तो solve कर ही लेना. You have to have the PYQs. Hindu editorial of course is a must. ये तो एकदम ही नहीं छोड़ सकते. This is going to be very required. The LE mocks, of course, because I will do prachar of LE. But of course, any one coaching mock which is going to be there, once you have access to the mock, the portal also gives you something which are called the sectionals. Sectionals are also a very good way to be able to gauge because it has a number of questions which you can solve. You have to focus on the comprehension, of course, and the vocabulary. So these are the must-haves that you need if you are preparing for if you're preparing for self-help and anybody is wanting to gear up on the English front. Let's see critical reasoning. अगर critical reasoning हम लोग कर रहे हैं तो हमारा जितना LSAT style CR sets होते हैं, those can come in very handy. Why? I tell you. Before moving on to passage based, it's very important that we get our paragraph based right. To get the paragraph, and because paragraph based में हमेशा एक ही question होता है, इससे क्या होता है आपके question stem strong हो जाते हैं. So of course editorial reading तो कर ही रहे, that is building up your opinion capacity. But outside that, you also have to make sure that you're getting the question stems right. Assumption क्या होता है, strengthen क्या होता है, weaken क्या होता है, that's the best way to do it. So if not that, of course, you also have the GMAT compendium. It's easily available. You just have to sign up to 100 GR, the GMAT club, and you will have access to infinite number of reading comprehensions and of course these as well. Solve it from there so that you get conceptual clarity. And for every time you're learning, please make sure आप कुछ independent questions के पहले answers भी पढ़ते जा रहे हो, right? Clarity मिलने के लिए. You will, of course, want the PDFs. You will want the mock test because without the mocks, like we said, there is nothing. I mean, there is no essence to preparation. We need basic logic books. If you are now, CR also takes into account the AR bit of it. So the RS Agarwal will work here because we do prepare for AR as well. Last year, CLAT threw a doozy on us. उसने CR में ही AR के भी questions पूछ लिए थे. उसने एक set पूछ लिया था. So you never know, but RS Agarwal will come in handy. You have to focus on assumption, inferences, and of course the flaws. Legal reasoning में the CAT PYQs, of course. You will need one thorough book which is going to walk you through the concepts. Now with legal, what happens is, since it is not a part of our syllabus, the terminologies and the topics might be new. Now, you might be able to understand legal altogether because it's normal civic sense, but there are some terminologies and some concepts that need to be understood. So yes, you will require a source wherein all of the topics that are asked, which are legal in nature, have been explained. So we will need concept sheets, of course, the mocks and the passages. Make sure that initially you start with sticking to just the principal fact understanding. Because if that's gotten right, automatically your comprehensions will begin to get right. For GK and of course the CA, you can use the monthly magazine. We have the CLAT post. There's a GK Today. There's Affairs Cloud, the Hindu headlines. And of course, what you have to do is make sure you're doing daily revisions. So when it comes to GK, again, there's an array. I've seen a lot of students also hunt and, they keep flapping around a lot of other sources also, which is okay. Whatever works for you. If your marks are increasing, good job. If your marks are not increasing, maybe your source is not right. So, like we said, you are the strategist. You have to understand what needs to be done. For quants, the kinds of books that you're going to be needing are going to be 9 to 10 NCRT. You will need a couple of DI sets because you have to know how these independent topics are actually reduced to a DI set. So, आपको DI set का एक compendium चाहिए होगा. RS Agarwal for a few selected topics. So once you've got RS Agarwal, I think this is going to be sorted over here. Focus on percentage, DI ratios, average, etc. So you just know that this is the course. Like I said, if you just open the pages of content of any book, so if you have a friend, you might be somebody who's into self-study, but you have a friend के पास book है, उसके table of contents को देख लो, आपके पास सारे topics आ जाएंगे. And that is all that you have to do just by reading. So just a pro tip, please don't hoard PDFs. ये नहीं कि PDF पे PDF इतनी बड़ी कोई वहाँ पे, you don't have to make a towering, like a story of books. That's not what we want. You need to learn what to read and not just from where. You have to know the content is immense, the content is endless, but what is important and what is not has to be decided by you. Now, just a rough idea of how your day should look like if you are somebody who's into school or somebody who is a dropper and into self-study. So if you are somebody who goes to school, now is a good time to be able to, get ahead on your CLAT practice because we have the summer vacations going on. But other than that, maybe a 2 to 3 hour of dedication to the CLAT practice is going to work fine. So morning, about 30 minutes is what we want. The editorial, some vocabulary, root words, or just vocabulary, and some current affairs. So just make sure that there's a little bit of GK. It could be your flashcards, it could be your mind maps, it could be your topics, whatever it is that you finish. Post school, for about an hour and a half, please cycle English, CR, and legal. Cycle means one after the other. So you can either do one passage of each, or maybe two passages of each, or one day English, one day CR, one day legal. You won't be able to do a lot because you also have school. And of course, GK is a plus, which means GK is a compulsion. Over the weekends, of course, what we want is 3 to 4 hours wherein you're going to do full mock analysis and the revision. This is how your week should look like. If you are somebody who's a dropper, let's see. From 9 to 11, we dedicate the space for English and CR. We want 4 RCs and 4 CRs with a little bit of vocabulary. The vocabulary is going to be extracted only from the Hindu. Please don't just begin to, read any random word. That's not what it is. The words also have a syllabus. So please make sure that the Hindu is what you use for your vocabulary. And of course, all the words that you also get in the passages. Around 2 to 3, you need to do legal reasoning practice. Make sure there is very separate allocation. You are not having one overlapping one subject over the other. You have the time to yourself, so please make sure you use it to your benefit. Around 4 to 5, you can do some GK and, of course, current affairs. Revise using flashcards, topics. Do DI as per convenience. DI can be a filler, or if you are able to squeeze time here and there, of course. GK is going to take most part of your day, so you have to be very smart that you don't eat up the practice of the other sections. The other sections, which is why be mindful. पहले सब कर लो, फिर GK करो. Because GA is a swamp. It's a bog. अंदर दलदल की तरह घुसते ही जाते हैं. So then you don't know how to lift your head up. So do the other ones and then get to GK is what my go-to deal is always. Saturdays, of course, the sectionals and the topic test, because you also have to know, are you able to perform that many number of questions in the stipulated time or not? Because accuracy पे तो काम करना ही है, but accuracy without a good time management is going to lead us nowhere. I could get a 100% accuracy, but in 2 hours, if I'm not able to solve the 120 questions that I have, what good am I doing? So the sectionals give you a little bit on around the time outlining. Sunday, of course, there has to be mock. There has to be mock analysis and whatever be your error log, the error sheet update. Yes, Sundays are going to go for a toss. I could not have said this any better. And I feel for you when I say this. I don't want to murder your Sundays, but yes, we barely have about 200 days that remain, and 200 days literally mean the clock is now ticking backwards. So we have to get ahead. We have to pump it up a little by now, right? So use the Pomodoro technique if you are struggling. So long back, I had done this series, which was around the Japanese techniques to be able to unwind. So Pomodoro technique is 25 is to 5. You study for 25 minutes, you take a break of 5 minutes. So in these sprints, when you study, the mind focuses better. Now, the one thing which even if you are doing self-study, you will have to sign up for, and which is the mocks. The mocks are important. Why are they important? Let's very quickly understand so that you have clarity as to whether you, irrespective of whether you be somebody who's into self-study or not, but you will have to sign up for at least the mocks, because the mocks are just not mocks. We also have something around the category of mocks, which are called the AIOM, which are called the All India Open Mocks. All of these are a very good way in which we can understand where exactly do you stand in terms of your preparation. So, of course, mocks teach you more than just books. They improve accuracy, speed, and time management. Needless to say, these are the very big qualifiers of a mock. They expose your weak areas. They tell you the silly mistakes that you make and your stamina lapses. So it tells you where the exhaustion comes. It tells you where the fatigue comes. It tells you when you begin to concentrate on the lizard on the wall and no more on the RC that you have. So mocks are the only things that will do. अच्छा, mock और normal RC में फर्क भी है. बहुत बच्चों को मैंने देखा है कि वो सारे आरसीज को या जितने भी कॉम्प्रिहेंशन होते हैं उसको सेक्शन वाइज मॉक की तरह दे. इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. व्हेन यू आर सिटिंग फॉर अ मॉक विथ an assortment of 120 questions, the mindset is different. If you think that I'll do 4 passages of English, then I'll do 4 passages of CR, then I'll do 6 passages of legal from different books in 2 hours and attend that like a mock, the temperament will never come. And of course, it tends to build the exam temperament. What is a quick strategy? Start with 1 mock a week from the first month. So even if you're beginning now is a good time. Make sure 1 mock a week at least. And then from the 3rd month that you have 2 mocks and sectionals every 2 days. You will have to do something wherein the time is on your head. जब तक वो hammer नहीं आएगा ना, तब तक वो dedication नहीं आएगा. Mock analysis copy, of course, बनानी ही पड़ेगी. Error log copy. Error log copy में आप क्या क्या categories बनाओगे? You are going to make sure that you write the question type, wherein you will identify what is the question. The time taken versus the ideal time. आपने कितना लिया और आपने सोचा कितना था टाइम होना चाहिए. Accuracy कितनी थी. Type of error. किस टाइप का error था. Conceptual था, panic था, skip था कि guess था. And of course the kind of notes, that is what went wrong with that question. इतना आप minimum error log अपना बनाओगे, wherein you will write that for every question that you've goofed up. हर question जो आपने गलत किया है. Review this file every Sunday. हमेशा mock के पहले revise your mistakes and go. It doesn't hurt you to get better. And of course, the AIOMs are what we have. These are going to be the benchmark, because AIOMs are the Open India mocks, wherein you not only have students from that particular coaching, you have students from all around. So every serious aspirant gives this. Here is where your rank comes on national stage. So this is a very important examination to go ahead with. Peer groups, again, please make sure, like I said, even if you're doing your self study, आपके पास एक या दो दोस्त कहीं ना कहीं से निकल ही आएंगे, या random group से उठा लो, wherein you can just come together and study. The peer pressure always builds up the competition, and the confidence that comes along is nothing like it. Nothing can match that. Next, now I've come up with a couple of books because you guys are into self study. आपके पास time भी है, आपके पास coaching का कोई specific वो नहीं है, routine नहीं है जो करना है. So just a couple of books. Now I know this is very tiny, so what I'll do is I'll just keep zooming it a little bit for everybody and then keep scrolling it. So some books which are some very good books that you should be reading if you are somebody who's into reading. Of course editorial तो पढ़ना है, but कुछ books. So short stories में आप क्या क्या पढ़ सकते हो? Short stories में you can read The Malgudi Days by R.K. Narayan, The Interpreter of Maladies, which has been written by Jhampa Lahiri. अगर आपने पिछले साल का देखा होगा CLAT paper, तो Jhampa Lahiri का passage भी आया था. The Blue Umbrella, which has been written by Ruskin Bond. Some classics that if you wish to read: The Animal Farm by George Orwell, an excellent book. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. If you want to get into some very modern essay reading, then We Should All Be Feminist by Adichie. Very, very good book. I mean, you'll be inspired after reading it. Notes of a Native Son by James Baldwin, and Praise of the Shadows by Tanizaki. If you are into magazines and blogs, if you want to read articles more so, you can read From the Caravan, The Brain Pickings, these are all sites, The New Yorker, Aeon Essays, The Atlantic, Long Reads, and Project Syndicate. These have some very good articles. These are not exhaustive articles. These are very, very mind-boggling, mind-altering articles that you have, just the kind of articles that you need. If you are into poetry, if that is what you want to read, some very selected poems from Robert Frost. I'm sure you've done that back in school as well. Poems by Kabir, The Wild Iris by Louis Gluck. Some non-fiction books that we have can be Sapiens by Harari, The Silk Roads by Frankopan, and Blink by Gladwell. You can always come back to this slide, pause it, and note down whatever you wish. Biographies and memoirs, if that's the kind of reading that you wish to do. Long Walk to Freedom by Mandela. Steve Jobs, Isaacson, and Educated by Westover is what can be done. If science and tech is what you wish, we have Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Tyson, and Brief Answers to the Big Questions by Hawkins. And Business and Leadership, if that's what interests you too much, The Lean Startup by Rice, Good to Great by Collins, and Start with Why by Sinek. A very, very good book, Start with Why. So make sure that you are doing a 30-minute reading wherein you are able to track vocabulary, track the essence, get into some summaries, and also be able to understand the opinions that you have. So all of these books can come in very handy. And if you're just reading so many books, you are way, way ahead of any normal person who is still struggling. Now, a weekly snapshot. So all these things that we have discussed into condensed form, a weekly snapshot, how it needs to look like. So the day and the task that we have. So Mondays, maybe because you're into self-study, you can do CR, GK, and maybe 2 RCs. So decide and dedicate days to the subject. GK is a given. GK will have to be done every day. Maybe maths can also be done every day. But between the 3 reading sections that we have, and reading, of course, has to be done every day. Between the 3 reading sections, you can always divide. Tuesdays, you can do legal and English. Wednesday, we can have some quants, GK, and maybe 2 passages of CR. Or you can also have your day, which can be taking 4 passages of each. Ultimately, make sure that your attempt resonates. It sort of, xeroxes the number of questions that are asked in the CLAT paper. Thursday can be legal RC vocab. Friday can be GK, CR, and some speed DIs. Saturday, of course, sectionals, very important. And Sunday is, of course, for maps, for the mocks. Now, this is not something which you have to follow. Customize it as per your own requirement. Please make sure you're adding some recreation and playtime as well. Just because you're planning, preparing for CLAT doesn't mean you have to drop out of the world altogether. That's not what we want. If you're into gymming, if you're into sports, please make sure you continue those. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And so now, towards the end, let's see. Can we crack the CLAT examination without coaching? Oh, hell, absolutely, yes. So it's 100% if the mindset is right, the material is right, and the routine is right. So you don't have to be somebody. Maybe the only help of the coachings that you will need is to be able to sign up for the test series and, of course, for the mocks. If all of those things are taken care of, there is ample material available. Like I said, there is no dearth of information. It's just that you have to know the right information that sits with you and something that you totally understand. You're not alone in the preparation. If there's anything, we are always here making videos around all sorts of things to help you navigate through all of these hassles, problems, turbulences, issues, emotional dips, etc., etc. This was my attempt to tell all the people that self-study is also a thing. It's not that only coachings lead you to it. So make sure that you are using all of your energy in the right place. And then, of course, you are a force that is unstoppable. I hope I could give you some clarity. I will see you guys next week again with some more videos around topics that I keep getting, which I feel are important for analysis and for, of course, walking you guys through. If you like the session, you know what to do. Just hit the like button, share it with other like minded friends who are also struggling with self study to let them know that they're doing a good job. And do let me know in the comment box how much this has helped. And if there's any other video that you want me to make which is going to help you, please do write in the comment box so that I can come up with a video around that as well. Have a great day, you all. Keep studying. And today is a good day to start. So why wait? Please begin. Thank you so much, everybody.